What's good, everybody? It's the Clown with Cab show. Shout out to the United States of America. I stand for the flag 100%. But we got to realize, looking at the United States of America right now, present day in 2023, there are some crazy things going on everywhere around the whole nation, the whole country. We still see shootings day in and day out. When are the shootings going to end, especially the school shootings overall? My thing is, why is America we're kind of like getting into this situation where we're like separating from each other, whether if you're for the Republican Party or the Democrat Party. I just think overall, America, we need to come together, because the day we stop forming against each other is the day we're going to have another civil war, just like what happened back, in the 1800s, like fighting our own brothers and sisters. That's what the Civil War was. So obviously here in America, we don't want to see it. I do think this is the greatest time right now to be alive because, we have a lot of freedom, right? We typically do have a lot of freedom compared to 100, 200, 300 years ago where we didn't have that type of freedom. But I just think in America right now, we're in this situation where I think we're really affecting the younger generations to come. Younger generations where when I was a kid, being born in the 90s, we kind of had the internet, but it wasn't like the iPhones like it is today. Nowadays, kids in elementary and middle school, they have iPhones. They can look up anything they've ever wanted off their fingertips, just like me. It doesn't really matter what age, and I do think that's kind of a bad thing in a way to where, back in the day, I had to go to the library and look up certain words, what this meant, what sentence did it go with, was it a noun, a pronoun, all this stuff, right? But now we can just look it up right on the internet. Like, we don't necessarily need these type of libraries anymore. Why? Because we have the internet. We can look up anything we've ever wanted to know, which can be dangerous in a way. It's a double-edged sword. But overall, I do like the internet. I just think, is it getting us lazy? Is our generations becoming more lazy? I feel like younger kids out there aren't necessarily playing outside as what they used to. Now they could just play inside, play video games all day, and that's all they do. When I was born, growing up as a child, yes, we had the PlayStation 2. We did have type of video games, but it wasn't like, yeah, I could get on the iPhone and play video games now. I could do all these different things. It was so different back then. But I just think for now, and where we're at today in 2023, I just don't want to see people taking in America for granted. And I think that's really what's going on right now in present day. We're seeing it right in front of our eyes. That's why we're seeing all the hatred. That's why we're seeing all the shootings. We're taking this for granted. All the people who fought before us for our freedom today, and we're just kind of like slapping it in the face. It's just like, oh, whatever, you guys fought for our freedom, but we're not going to stand for the flag. We're going to do all these other, start rioting, start protests, start going crazy, right? I just think, with the protests, whatever side you're on, I just think overall we got to come to agree to disagree. That's what we have to do, and I think the Republican and Democrat Party, when they form together, we cannot do that. They can't agree to disagree. They just can't do it. I just think it's crazy. But, one thing, there's all different types of movements out there. But, for the LGBTQ movement, I just think overall, why my whole problem with that movement is putting on young children out there. I feel like for young children, it's like, they don't need to be knowing about this until like, high school or after 18 years old, and then they could do whatever they want with their bodies. But telling young children that, hey, a 9-year-old or a 7-year-old that, hey, if you want to have a sex change, you can do that if you want to. I just feel like that is crazy. That's so young, dude. Like, let parents, teach their own children. I feel like, school teachers out there here in America should not be teaching young children, hey, sex change for this right here. They're 9 years old, dude. Like, when I was 9, I didn't know what puberty was. I didn't know my ball sack could drop eventually. Like, come on, dude. Like, I had no clue, no recollection until I was like a teenager, late teenager. Then I finally started to realize, oh, okay, these are some of the human body parts. We get all that, but pushing it on young children, that is crazy to me. That is just insane. And so many people are afraid to speak what they believe in. And that's another thing here in America is like, we should be able to say what we want. We should know all of our amendments, the first, second, third, et cetera, et cetera. We should know all of our rights. We should know these things. And I just think right now, a lot of people don't. They're afraid that they'll get censored and quit from their job. Is that true freedom? And a lot of the times here in America, me being a male, we have to understand young males today in our generation, it's very important today that you become rich one day. Because if you're a male and you are not ever going to be rich here in America, you're basically screwed, dude. You're basically going to work 70 years of your life and hope you get a good pension and hope you get a good retirement in hopes of all this, right? Who's to say Social Security will be around in 50 years from now? But as a young man, you gotta get rich. When I say rich, not yes, obviously spiritually, everything else, but finance-wise, you gotta get rich, because if you don't get rich here in America, if you're a man and you don't get rich, you're basically screwed, dude. You're gonna be working your whole life breaking your back for another person, dude. Like, that's really what it is. And it's kind of messed up, right? I mean, I didn't have a choice. I was born here in America. Like, I didn't have a choice where it's like, oh, you know what? I want to be born in South America. I want to be born right in the islands. It wasn't like that. Being born in America, it's a blessing, obviously, because most people in different countries, they want to come to America. There's so much land here in America. It's crazy, right? But yet we don't utilize all the land here in America. But a lot of people don't even understand that. It really wasn't our land. United States of America was the Native Americans' land at first, till, all this, evil, corruption, greed. That's what happened. Greed just started forming into humans, dude. And that's why I think even in 2023 right now, I do still feel that sense of greed in people. Like, people really don't care. You think, there's homeless people on the street. You think a majority of people care about those homeless people? Absolutely not. And that's sad. We see in Los Angeles right now, California, where there's boatloads of homeless people on the street. What's the government doing, over there? And a lot of people want to say the government can save you. No, it cannot, dude. The government is not necessarily your friend, dude. That's why Uncle Sam's always getting his tax money yearly. He's getting it from every single, blue-collared American that's working hard, working their 9-to-5 jobs, that built this country, that paved the waves, that paved the roads that we're driving on right now. These are the type of men, in 2023. Now, we could get a billionaire, 17-year-old billionaire off Bitcoin where, he didn't really do much, except online trading. That's it, dude. He didn't break his back to get that Bugatti. He didn't do all these types of things, but that's just how America is the reality of it. Some people are thriving in life, and then others are homeless, dude. And there's just it's crazy to me, right? It just, the levels is just like, we're up on this millionth level, then all the way down to homelessness, no shelter, no food, doesn't know where their next meal's coming from. That to me, that is scary about America. That is just crazy. I just never thought, when I was a kid in America, I was like, dude, there's never going to be any homeless people. There's never going to be any people that are going to go hungry, starvation, borderline. But there is. There is here in America, and it's corruption and it's greed, and that's really what it boils down to, selfishness as well. But I just think greed is it's a crazy concept, right? Just being greedy. It doesn't even need to be about financial-wise. It could be about anything. Any type of greed is not good greed, and that's why America, I think, is kind of separating in a way, where it's just like, holy cow, like, we're really, like, about this life. We're about to be greedy, we're like, we want more, we want an extra plate, we more and more, like, we can never be satisfied. And I think, that's kind of like the corruption of the human mind right now. It's like, there's always more, strive for more, but really, I think that's kind of a bad thing in a way as well, where it's just like, you want more and more and more, and more's not enough, dude. Like, eventually you're going to get to the point where it's just like, you're continuing to intake all these different things where it's not going to help, dude. Like, it's not going to get you the happiness. It's not going to get you the peace and freedom that you want here in America, just by having that greed in your body, dude, in your heart. That is crazy, right? It's crazy, but there's so many different types of movements now. I don't necessarily agree with every single movement out there here in America. I just want to know, we need a movement that's really about peace, love, and just coming together, and I understand, there's different movements that support these different names, but at the end of the day, I just think that's kind of a form of segregation in a way as well, when we have certain movements where if you don't disagree with this movement, you're going to get canceled, or, you're looked down upon now, that just because you disagree with that movement. It's crazy to me, right? It's just insane. It's just like, we live in America, where I feel like we're just taking it for granted. I really do. It's just one of them things where it's like, we have so many different types of places to eat here in America. Like, we have running water. We have all these things here in America that we could ever think of, right? Like, we could have so much. We have land. We have so many opportunity out here in America. Yet in different countries, they don't even have running water. Like, just let that sink in. They don't even have running water. They don't have food. They don't have a next meal where they're gonna get their next meal from. They can't pull up at a Taco Bell. They can't pull up at a local joint at your local city where you live. They can't do that, dude. They can't Uber Eats. They can't DoorDash. Like, dude, this is crazy. This is real life. And different people in different countries are living a completely different reality than here we are in America. And that's why I think a lot of people love America, because it is a land of opportunity. It is a land where you can come from nothing to something and just build it up, and just like help the human people, right? But I just think right now today in America it's about, building and not necessarily, tearing stuff down. Building this up. We're going to build and build and build. And then it's just going to come to a point where somebody's going to try to tear something down. Somebody's going to try to, badmouth you, put lies into you. Hey, free Andrew Tate one time, top G, free Tate, which is crazy, right? Andrew Tate, he's one of these influential guys, that really speaks the truth of reality. He's a former world champion kickboxer. I like this guy. What he's got to say about young men, especially in today's day and age where, it is against you. The odds are against you. The Matrix wants you to lose. The system wants you to lose. The system wants you to put in 60, 70 years of your hard-earned life, all your time and energy into this thing where you're really not going to get much back. When you turn 70 and 80, dude, what are you going to get? $300K in your retirement savings? Like, dude, that's not even worth it. Even $1 million in 50 years is not worth that, dude. I'm telling you, dude, it is not worth that at all. All the pain you had to go through, you're going to break your back eventually one day, or you're going to collapse and die of old age, dude, doing that. So I just think that's why I support Andrew Tate, because a lot of the convictions that people want to see you lose, they do. And I think the only people that want to see people lose are the people who aren't necessarily successful, or maybe their life isn't going as how they thought it would go, and they just kind of gave up. They gave up the mentality, and it's over with forever. I was actually talking to this lady the other day. She was in her like her 45s, and she was like, I gave up when I had my second kid. I was like, oh my gosh. I told her, I was like, are you crazy? Why would you do that? I straight up told her, we had like an epiphany right there. She was like, I have no clue. Yeah, and I gave her some hope. And now I think there is hope restalled in her. And I was like, why would you give up? Like, you should never give up. Like straight up. That's what's crazy. But I love America. I even though I don't love the things that are happening here in America, the killings, the shootings, the riots, all the innocent people dying left and right. It sucks. In the big cities, especially like LA, Chicago, New York, those top three cities right there. I mean, we look at their cities and say, man, look at the gun violence there. Look at all the innocent lives being lost for no reason at all. Look at all the corruption that's happening. Not every single cop is corrupted, but there are some crooked cops that, basically that, they pull you over and you got a lot of drugs on you. Well, we're going to sell half of it and then give it back to the rats, and just it's a form of a cycle, and it always starts with the bad apples. Now defunding the police is absolutely insane, crazy. I've even seen that online where people want to defund the police. That is crazy. No, we should never defund the police. I think the good police officers in the big cities should get paid over 6 figures a year. I really do. We're talking about these officers that are risking their lives every day, getting shot at every other day. Especially in the big cities like New York, Chicago, even Miami, Florida, like big type of cities here. I just think defunding the police is absolutely a mistake here in America, and I could see why a lot of the other, people or other types of ethnicities or whoever you are that disagree with police officers. Maybe it was a time in the past where a police officer messed you up or whatever the case is, but at the end of the day, defund the whole police force? Dude, that would be insane, dude. The crime would go up even more. It would go up double, triple if we do that. So I think that is insane to defund the police. But overall, as far as like, the murders go and all the shootings that are happening every single day here in America, it's mind-boggling to me. I just never would have thought, back growing up in the 90s, I never would have thought, man, there's going to be school shootings left and right now, and we're seeing it more and more, and I think that's really stemming from the younger generations now. The younger generations, a lot of people are just telling them these lies or telling them all this negative stuff, right? Hey, you could do this and that, or you could, go shoot up a school. Like, come on, you got to be out of your dang mind to even think that. to even think of school shooting. Like, that is crazy to me. Never. Like, that's insane. So we're seeing it more and more, but it can't just be mental illness here. I think it stems from how some people are raised. We have to understand that. And that's took me a long time to grasp in my life, where it's like, man, maybe people are just raised a little different. Maybe they're raised to really be quiet in front of grown-ups or in front of crowds where they shouldn't say a word. To me, it was a little bit different where I grew up, where I had to talk. I have to talk to the grown-ups. I have to get us out of trouble when we were kids. That's why I love talking. That's why I love talking to grown-ups, where it's like, I got to get out of situations here. So let's talk it through, and I can kind of pick up the vibes within the first 2 minutes of the conversation. Is this person really a good person or not? Are they happy or are they sad? That's the two main things I could see right from the get-go. Are they happy? Are they sad? Are they angry or are they not? Just in the first 2 minutes of the conversation, right then and there. It's really a skill, but it happens over time. But I think the communication skills face-to-face is definitely going away here in America, which is sad because of the internet, because of how advanced we're moving quicker and quicker, right? But I just think in the future, not just 2023, but during this decade up until 2030, we have to find a way to have different forms of government, better situations, just better peace, better unity. I just feel like right now we're not that. We aren't. We're taking it for granted. We just want what we want. We're selfish in our ways, I think, here in America, where it's just like, forget the small fry. It is what it is. We'll feed them to the sharks type mentality, which I think is crazy to have in America. I think that America should have the right to be like, hey, the America is for standing. We are supporting all of our United States officer troops around the world. Navy, Army, Air Force. Every military base here in America, we should stand up and support those guys. Those guys are fighting overseas, like straight up, and they've been doing it for years. And us to just disrespect the American troops is mind-boggling. That's why I think having American troops that are homeless right now, homeless veterans. That's one of the saddest things I could hear, dude. Homeless veterans living on the street right now. There's no reason for that. I think the government should implement, institutions, jobs, to give these guys work, dude. Homeless veterans that fall for our freedom right now, that are homeless, dude, something's wrong with that. Something's wrong with America right there, and I don't know what it is, but we need to fix it. But moving forward in America, we need peace and we need love, because right now we're going the opposite way. We're going towards hatred. We're going towards killing. We're going towards an eye for an eye, like the Old Testament said, until Jesus came and said, turn the other cheek. We love our neighbors as we love ourselves, dude. We got to love every single buddy. Whether, they hate us, it doesn't matter. At the end of the day, we got to love every single buddy and cut out all the killings, all the innocent murders being lost. That's where I think America should go here in the next 10 to 15 years, baby. It's the Clown with Cab Show. Let's go!